Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. This is Derek. You've seen him in a couple of videos doing a lot of wrenching work, not a lot of on-camera stuff.
Yeah.
He is the wizard's apprentice here at Lucore Automotive. And he wants to be a full-fledged member of our Church of Bad Decisions.
That's right.
You dabbled a little bit with a Miata in the past.
I bought a Miata. It was a good car, just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It was fun for like 6 months. Did some autocrossing with it. We've done that on the channel.
Yep.
I sold that off for a fairly hefty profit because the used car market was going sky high.
And it's a Miata.
Everybody loves a Miata. So.
And you had wheels and tires. And
yeah, I did wheels and tires. I did a bunch of brake work to it.
Yep.
Had .4 fluid in it. I put a roll bar in it.
Yep.
So, you know, step one Miata stuff.
Yep.
But then I was kind of done with it. It didn't really have the character that I was looking for.
Yeah.
I liked the autocross. It wasn't really my jam though.
It's an easy way to get into motorsports.
Yeah, I really enjoyed learning about the driving.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I definitely learned a lot about how to drive. And
for sure,
you know, even just a couple of sessions, it was fun to go push the limits. But not really exactly what I'm looking for.
Sure.
I want something a little more my own style.
Sure.
Kind of deal.
So Miata went away. Ended up picking up a pick-em-up truck at that point in time.
I got a 1990 F-150.
Which we haven't shown anything about yet.
No, I don't think we've had that on the channel. It's been sitting out front. I bought that thing dirt cheap as well. It was a non-runner, and it ended up just being a, what was it, a fuel relay. A fuel relay, and the timing was like set to like 50 degrees. So we dialed back the timing because it had a rebuilt engine put in it. So the engine only has like 30,000 miles on it.
Somebody took a bath on that.
Yeah. So the dude had like easily 12 grand in just the engine and fixing the truck up, and I bought it for like 3.
Ooh.
So
anyway,
yeah,
you got a truck, but you need a cool car. You need a fun
I want something
car.
with a little pep.
Now this is not a cool car.
No,
this is
absolutely no way is this a cool car.
This is his daily driver.
This is a 2008 Subaru Impreza 2.5i non-turbo, naturally aspirated, 2.5 liter, 5-speed.
3 different colors.
2
different colors.
2.
Okay.
2 colors. Bought the car for like $500. It needed a clutch.
Yep.
And
a whole passenger side.
And a passenger side of body work, and the interior was, I mean, disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting.
There was mold growing in it.
Absolutely disgusting.
So I got that all fixed up. I mean, I've put 16,000 miles on this car in the past year and a half, and it has been fantastic. I love this car. I really do.
But not very exciting.
No, it's not exciting.
Not very exciting.
But I do love working on Subarus. They're simple and everything is Legos.
Yeah, that's
which I love.
The Lego factor of Subaru, you cannot beat that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our conversation today and why we're making this video and why you see a Subaru motor sitting here. So this is a single overhead cam Subaru motor that came out of essentially that exact same car.
It was out of an Outback.
And it got us thinking, and by us I mean him, thinking about, you know what I should really do is I want to build a motor for my Subaru, but I don't want to do like the turbo thing like everybody else does.
I want something unique.
I want to do something unique, which if you've ever been in the hot rodding world, unique usually means twice as expensive and half as fast. But welcome to the Church of Bad Decisions, Derek. So I guess current thought now is this is a single overhead cam, but it's a stick shift car.
Yep, it's 5-speed.
Is he, mostly he, wants to build a high revving, naturally aspirated, high compression, dual overhead cam boxer 4.
Yeah, so the original idea that I was looking into is something called a Franken motor. And you can look those up, and that's like actually a thing. You take a 2.2 turbo head and slap it on a 2.5 block.
The 2-liter heads.
No,
2.2.
2.2.
Okay.
2.2.
Interesting.
And by doing that alone, it bumps your compression.
Right.
Like nothing else, no piston changes, nothing else. It bumps your compression, and you can now run premium, tune it, and you get more power.
Sure.
All by swapping heads. Ta-da!
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, cool, let's take it further. So we have a bunch of Subaru parts sitting around here.
We do. There's a whole wall of Subaru parts over there.
Turbo blocks and heads, 2.5s, 2 liters, everything I could ever dream of to build an engine. So, how far can we go with this?
Right. So, all of you who have ever built Subarus, almost always, like 97% of the time, if anybody ever talks about building a Subaru and needing more power, the answer is
Turbo.
turbo. Or more turbo.
Yeah.
Or E85 and more turbo. It's never leave it NA and make it rev to the moon and put a whole bunch of compression in it.
9,000?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's never the answer.
No, nobody does that because it's dumb.
But if you're going to be a member of the Church of Bad Decisions, you need to do something stupid, and this is this is up there. So what we're coming up to you people here is a project introduction and also kind of a ask questions. Have you ever done this? Do you know anybody who's ever really built one of these things? Because I guess the way we're thinking about this is you take a turbo block, high compression pistons.
So we're thinking of starting with a 2.5 turbo block,
Yep.
and you get the strength out of that.
Right.
And then some either turbo rods, lightweight rods, whatever we can do, high compression pistons, put it at 10.
And by high compression, we're talking still run on pump gas.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
10, 10 and a
yeah.
half.
Because I'd still like to be able to daily the car.
Right.
Even if fuel mileage goes to crap, I would still like to be running at 93.
Okay.
And I don't want to do E85. I mean, obviously, a year and a half, 16,000 miles.
Right.
It needs to be able to still be a daily driver.
Right. And E85, even here in Corn area, is still spotty.
Yeah, especially being here, seeing some of the people that buy E85 and it's actually like
Yeah.
E82.
Right. Or E72.
Yeah. So I don't really want to have to mess with that.
Sure. So you want to do 2.5 block,
2.5 block,
2.5 heads,
2 liter heads.
2-liter heads.
So we do the 2 liter heads, and this is something that you guys might be able to help us out with. My understanding is that they flow better
Okay.
than the 2.5 heads.
I know we've done hybrid motors in the past where you
Yeah.
do 2.5 with 2-liter heads. Never done that in an NA form, so
My understanding is that they flow air better.
Subaru people, chime in, please.
And
We've done a lot of Subaru stuff. We've done performance Subaru stuff in the past. We've never done performance NA Subaru.
no,
I
it's
don't know
always-
anybody that does
It's always the turbo stuff,
Right.
like
so,
with the Forester that we did.
Right. So, like, we've built WRXs, we've done STIs, we've done Foresters, we've done all kinds of stuff with turbocharged Subarus, and the process is still similar. But what we're running into a conversation about is what makes sense. Where do you put your time and your money, and what, does it make sense to do turbo rods versus are there lightweight rods that are designed for, an NA application because we don't need the extra toughness of the turbo rod.
Right.
You
just need light.
Right. We need decrease this reciprocating mass as much as possible. So we're still in the homework phase of this stupid decision. And then another conversation we were having was as far as like the intake setup goes, running this kind of an intake manifold, but modifying this to be able to get you more airflow for a higher
Right, for a
RPM.
higher
Because you're wanting to go to
RPM.
like 8,000, 8,200, something
Something
like
like that, yeah. I mean, more the better because it's going to get more power.
Yeah.
At the same time, keeping it, I say reasonable, but
Right.
I mean, you can spin these things to 12,000. I mean, look it up. There's 12,000 RPM builds of turbo Subarus that are nuts, but that's a track car.
That's
and that's a rebuild once a year.
Right.
So
And we're not interested in that.
no.
So you're looking at like, let's call it 8,200 RPMs, make maybe 200 at the tires, but
Yeah.
not spend a house payment.
Right. From the factory, this car made somewhere in the range of 120 horsepower to the wheels.
Okay.
I think they're rated at like 160
At the crank? Okay.
And you're looking at like 22% drivetrain loss. So
Right.
it comes out right around there.
Okay.
I don't know anybody that's actually dyno tested
An NA
an
Subaru?
NA just like from the factory just to see.
Might have to see if we could make that happen.
Yeah, we might
Just
have
for
to
the
do
engine.
a before and after just so that we can
Just for the
include
giggles.
data.
And if you do less than 122, you'll get the least horsepower ever run on the dyno.
Oh, really?
Right now, I have that in my Volvo, 122 horsepower. So,
And yours is turbo.
and mine's turboed. So, I guess the question really is, before we talk for an hour and a half about this, is does this make sense? Is it something that can get to where we want it to be and still be somewhat drivable? As far as an intake manifold goes, the idea would be to add enough volume to it to be able to hang out at that higher RPM and not be starving of air, because you're not going to have a turbo
Decreasing
shoving
the
air.
manifold pressure somehow.
So, is it something where you have to do a custom manifold? Can you do something like a standard NA manifold and then use a larger throttle body or dual throttle body to be able to give it more breathing, and then maybe like do some sort of a spacer setup to bring this manifold higher to add more plenum volume?
Right.
But again, how much room do you have between the top of this and the bottom of the hood to be able to give you clearance?
Not a whole lot.
So ideally, we want to spend as little money as possible, like all the rest of you guys do, and get as much value and punch out of it as possible.
Right.
So,
like I'm not looking for I want to make a 400 horsepower NA
Right.
Subaru. Like I understand what's reasonable. Like 200.
none of this
wheel-
is reasonable.
Well, I say reasonable.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like 200 wheel horsepower out of
Yeah.
a 4-cylinder engine is
I think that's
completely doable.
Hondas do it all the time.
Right. Why can't I be a Honda Rubu boy?
I think it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid, but I think you can get there, because this motor was from factory like 8.5 to 1 compression.
Yeah, really low.
So you figure you pick up 2 points of compression, complete points of compression, plus the camshaft that's in this that are in these are designed for low end torque, not for high end revving. So
Right.
you put a camshaft that's designed for that higher end, and you rob that torque and you move it down the torque, the band, and you put it up in the higher RPMs. I think it makes sense. Mathematically it makes sense.
Right.
So, anyways, that's why we wanted to film this little video as a kind of a project introduction, but also kind of a help, because we're getting into something we've never done before, and we want to make sure we do this the right way. We don't want to waste tons of Derek's money and tons of Derek's time
Right.
building something that's a complete dog that he's not going to enjoy, that he just blew $5,000
Yeah,
on.
say I get an engine together and we find out, you actually can't run
Right.
dual overhead cams in a single.
Right. Is that a problem?
Like,
Can you not put a dual overhead cam motor in a single overhead cam car? Are we already immediately barking up the wrong tree? We've never done that.
yeah.
Everything we've
like,
already messed with was already dual overhead cam.
Visually looking at it, all the sensors in the same location. It doesn't
Right.
have any like electronically actuated timing or fancy stuff going on.
Right.
It's just another.
There's no cam timing, no nothing.
It's just a different valve setup. So theoretically, it should work.
Now, obviously, you're going to need custom tuning.
Right.
No kidding.
Which Eric can take care of that for
We
us.
have a guy. So, I don't know. Does it make sense? I know we don't have a whole lot of import guys and a whole lot of Subaru guys on our channel, but you might know somebody who does, or you might have a kid who's into Subarus, and ask the kid. You're the hot rodder, but he's the Subaru guy. Does this make sense? Have you ever done it? Do you know anybody who's ever done it? What path did you take? Where are we going to first stumble and fall? I think the bottom end and the heads are actually really the easy part, because you just
Yeah.
put together...
The long block, I think, is the really easy
Yeah.
part because it's been done. Like the 2.5 block with 2-liter heads, it's been
Right.
done over and over and over.
Right.
The issue I think we're going to get into is airflow.
Right.
And like that's what you were explaining to me about the hot rodding when you increase your runner length and things like that
Yeah.
to be able to mess with air pressure going into the engine. So
Give us some thoughts, folks. We're honestly asking for opinions and information, especially if you've ever done anything like this before.
and don't say turbo it.
Turboing is not on the table. What we're looking for is 200 horsepower out of a 2.5 bottom end, 2-liter heads, cams, all the fun trickery stuff that you can do, without spending $5,000 on heads. And then intake modifications, fuel modifications, all that stuff, that's all, that's all on the table. Can you get there with this process, and can it go in that and actually run without having to rewire the car?
Right.
I think so.
Yeah. Because originally, one of the things I was looking at was a H6 swap.
Right.
Like out of an SVX.
Right.
And you do like 5 minutes of homework on that, and you find out that there's an ECM problem because they never came with standard transmissions. They only came in automatics.
Yep. Like the Tribeca doesn't have a stick shift option.
Have fun wiring that and making the engine run. No thanks. There used to be a company by the name of iWire that does a bunch of Subaru wiring, and as of January last year, they have stopped making harnesses for that swap.
Well, this makes you can make turbo Subaru noises too. You do unequal link pattern.
It doesn't sound exactly, but I have heard that robs power.
It does. So, but it sounds Subaru. So, anyway, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, give us your knowledge. This is a project for the winter. We're going to probably start going because we literally have
everything we need for a long block.
I don't want to show you this because it's kind of unsightly, this area of the shop, but we have everything we need for Subarus here. So realistically speaking, we can really get moving on this like immediately.
Yeah.
So we're looking for knowledge. More than anything, that's what we're looking for. So anyway, there you go. That's the spiel.
Can we hot rod a Subaru?
Without putting a turbo on it.
Right.
Anyway, like I said, put some information in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Hot rodded Subaru should be interesting. It's still got to be able to be somewhat daily drivable, even if it's slightly terrible, because it's designed to run on the high end, but you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, that's a problem for me.
So, there you go. Drop us a comment. Hit the subscribe button. Click on the like button. Let us know what you think. Subaru folks, we're asking for help. Please. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.